Good morning.
It's
good evening.
Yeah, good evening and good
Hello,
morning
world.
and good afternoon. It's World Oceans Week, and everybody has been. We've had a virtual ocean experience, I think, for the last 3 months, and David and I are eager to get in the water. How eager are you to get in the water?
Eager to get in the water.
Eager. We're lucky to live on the St. Lawrence. So David Doubilet.
Jennifer Hayes.
We are photographers for National Geographic magazine. We are married. We are together 24/7, above and below the water. It helps if you like each other a lot.
This is ours, yeah.
If you have a sense of humor. Okay, John Tett told us that today was about youth and about Ocean Odyssey. So David and I kind of constructed this talk, this casual talk to revolve around youth. And we're going to start with youth. And we're going to start with it's a big effort that we've recently committed ourselves to. #NextGeneration. David and I are spending a lot of time in a lot of meetings that talk about the next generation as problem solvers in the sea. We created the problems. They're going to inherit the problems. They are the solution. So we have all of these meetings and in every single venue. What's missing in those meetings, David?
The next generation.
Next generation. So what we're doing, we're submerging with the emerging talent, the photographers, the videographers, the next generation scientists, the next generation storytellers. And these guys are the scuba nauts. These are young scientific divers that we stocked in Florida through collaboration with Moat Marine Lab. These scuba naut international kids, I think, range from 14 to 19. And David, we sadly learned that they were more qualified in many areas than we were.
They are really good.
They are
divers.
Really good. But we joined 20 of them on a reef restoration program in Summerlin Key with Moat Marine Lab and
in the Florida Keys.
In the Florida Keys. And what we're doing is giving them a platform and giving them a voice. And working with these guys underwater, it was hard to keep up. So the Florida Reef Tract has just come through a phase of coral disease, and these guys are documenting it. They are out planning on coral reefs, and Moat Marine Lab is an incredible collaborator. And not only are we seeking next generation outlets and platforms, literally collaborating with the next generation, we're also seeking collaboration. One of the big ways that we think we can amplify ocean impact and conservation is through collaboration. David, anything you want to say about this before we move on to one of our next collaborations?
Well, clearly this is the most important work that we can do to ensure the future and the health of the ocean. Starts with these guys. There's no other choice. And I think more and more we have to look very, very carefully with everything we have to promote, develop, educate, inspire. It's a good word, inspire the young divers all over the world.
And here's a challenge to anybody who's watching this now or watches this in the future. We want to know about young people, what they're doing and where they're doing it, so we can stalk them and we can tell their story. So if anyone knows of young people, please find us, tell us about it, and let us tell their story, because it really is about the next generation, and we are on a mission, literally, of next generation and collaboration. Those are our two biggest tools for ocean conservation right now. And this is just kind of to wrap up our collaboration with Moat Marine Lab. We expect to probably move in the direction of coral restoration with them through time. It isn't a one-shot wonder where we will do one assignment with them and move on. We will follow these emerging scientists, these emerging storytellers. We're starting now, and we're going to follow them through time and basically try to help get them where they want to be.
Moat's work also is a collaboration with the Wounded Warrior Project. And as you can see, some of our veterans and wounded warriors are down there working with the scuba nauts, working with the scientists from Moat.
So if you want to invigorate yourself and inspire yourself, go underwater with young people and then catch your breath. So David, do you want to talk about Palau for a second? We just came back from Palau in December, another collaboration. Oh wait, not Palau, Rajampat. I'm looking at, yes, thank you, David. I'm jumping in my mind to Palau. We just came back from Palau, but we're going to talk to you about Raja Ampat. Why? Why are we going to talk to you about Raja Ampat? We want to check in with a corner of the world that is right now, like everyone, experiencing COVID. We wanted to check in with Dr. Mark Erdman and see what is happening literally right now in Raja Ampat. Thank you, David, for correcting me. I'm so excited about Palau. Okay, so we will launch Raja Ampat.
Video.
Hi, Mark Erdman from Conservation International. I'm quite a long ways from my normal place of work in Raja Ampat, Indonesia, but I was asked by Jen Hayes and David Doubilet to make a few comments about the effects of COVID and the lockdown on the reefs and ecosystems of Raja Ampat. On the negative side, there's definitely been an increase in fishing that we've seen. Now, some of that is absolutely honest fishing by community members who were previously employed in tourism and now, of course, need to find an alternative way of feeding their families. But we did also see a significant spike initially in commercial fishermen who were taking advantage of the fact that the government-led patrols in the MPAs had been ordered to stand down during lockdown. And I have to say that actually the Raja Ampat MPA Authority responded in rapid fashion to deal with that, and actually made a number of arrests. So I think that issue was relatively rapidly addressed. Another interesting thing, I suppose, is that the reefs in a certain sense have been given a rest from the ever-increasing tourism that we saw over the past 2 decades. Also, we've heard anecdotally from a number of the dive operators that are still there that they're seeing a number of bigger fishes right up in the shallows now where they didn't normally see them before. So anecdotally, it actually sounds like we're seeing some really interesting behaviors. So, on balance, there was initially a spike of illegal fishing activity. I think that's under control now. There continues to be an increased fishing pressure from local community members who don't have that tourism revenue stream right now. But we think that's relatively minor, and overall, probably we're quite happy, I think, to have the reef taking this quick break. But we are also hopeful that tourism will come back soon because it is a very important part of the economy here. Hi, Mark Erdman from
Okay, proceed.
Perfect. Now we are in Palau. Remarkably similar, isn't that?
Yes.
So what we wanted to do, I think a lot of us, and backing up to Dr. Mark Erdman, a lot of us are wondering what was happening where in the world now in the time of COVID. And we thought it was important to check in with somebody who could tell us what was happening now and where in the time of COVID, and what better than the Center of Marine Biodiversity. Then we're just coming in from Palau in this past December in a collaboration. Notice collaboration with Fish and Fins and Michael Law working on a book for Oceans 2020. David, take over.
So I came to Palau in 1971. That was my first trip there. There was no hotels. There was virtually no diving. I think there was 3 tanks on the island. It's hard to believe that at that point in 1971, it was hard to imagine that the diving world would be the backbone of the economy of this incredible, perfect archipelago, self-contained archipelago. So here's a couple images from Palau, and I came back year after year. In 1980, I worked with Dr. William Hamner on the Jellyfish Lakes. for National Geographic, which was a story that really opened the world's eyes to Palau. And we discovered a couple things like the Chandelier Cave then. And of course, Palau is known for its mushrooms. It's the tops of their ancient coral reefs. And we wanted to make a picture of young Palauans and one of the mushroom corals.
One of the things about Palau that we wanted to say with this image is simple. Palau is a leader, an outright leader in marine conservation. They were one of the first or the first to create a shark sanctuary. And they've set aside over 80% of their EEZ as protected waters. Why? For sustainability. Why? For these guys, for future generation Palauans. They are a mover and a shaker in the marine conservation world, and a global example of what can happen. So it's a gift to go to Palau and work there and know that what you're seeing is just literally protected for generations to come. So it's a joy. And we're going to share with you through our team, through our IT team, a video on what it's like to work in Palau in December and come back. And I think we're headed back to Palau immediately because it seduces you back.
There's a constant surprise.
All righty.
Palau Jellyfish Lake, an isolated alcove of the open ocean. Jellyfish Lake is a marine lake. Here, millions of mastigious jellyfish thrive. They have lost their sting and evolved into tiny food factories, feeding the algae in their tissues with sunlight and the chemistry of the lake. When plankton fills the waters of the German Channel of Palau, groups of mantas gather to feed. Opening their huge mouths, filtering plankton through their gill rakers, they fly through schools of fish, performing a manta ballet. Ancient coral reefs, upthrust 20 million years ago, gave birth to Palau's famed rock islands. From the air, they look like ancient calligraphy, green writing on a very blue sea. Entwined and protected by these islands, coral reefs here bloom. At dawn, the bohar snapper gather in huge aggregations at the edge of the reef. Then they spawn, shooting toward the surface, releasing white clouds of egg and sperm, filling the sea with living fog. Living fog. Okay, we're back.
All right. So, as you can maybe guess, one of the things we're doing in this presentation is sharing video sequences, sizable video sequences that are 2 or 3 minutes long in some cases. One of the things that David and I do now in storytelling, it's not just about still photography now, because in the land of digital and so many platforms to satisfy, we're also doing video underwater, and we create these trailers basically. And when we're on National Geographic assignment, what the editors want to see from us is a compilation. So we more or less, we put together a video trailer that tells a story in both stills and videos. So in presentations now, you'll find that our storytelling is kind of it's a mix of stills, and then you'll see a trailer of the place that we are embedded in and trying to do storytelling. And one of our favorite, most compelling, David, that we've ever experienced in the planet, and if you haven't been, you must go to
the Gardens of the Queen. This is an archipelago in the south of Cuba. It's there and untouched because of a rare combination of geography and geopolitics. I came to the Caribbean when I was 12 years old, a very long time ago, and much of it has been destroyed, disappeared through overfishing and through climate change, especially these great gardens of elkhorn coral. And the Gardens of the Queens, it's all there. Let's take a look at this video.
All right. Now we submerge into Gardens of the Queen, Cuba, a marine protected area 50 miles off the south coast of Cuba. If you haven't been, you gotta go. All right, let's launch.
This is the Caribbean, the way it was and the way it should be.
I saw my first Caribbean reef when I was 12. Forests of elkhorn coral, rivers of schooling fish. These reefs have vanished, destroyed over time by overfishing, pollution, and global warming. But there is one place in all of the Caribbean that has survived: Cuba's Gardens of the Queen. A healthy shark population means a healthy reef system. Caribbean reef sharks glide through the coral gardens and forests and meadows. At dusk, silky sharks gather in the open ocean at the edge of the reef. Mangroves are the nurseries of the reef, shadowy forests that protect and hide juvenile fish. In the summer, these sunken forests are flooded with clouds of silvery baitfish. Look up to the clouds of baitfish through the leafy mangrove forest canopy to the blue Caribbean sky. The Gardens of the Queen are one of the last refuges for the American crocodile, nearly hunted to extinction throughout the Caribbean. Crocodiles are the engineers and the architects of the mangroves. They create channels that open up the mangroves for fish habitat and nurseries. The croc slid over my shoulder, headed for Jennifer, who was busy taking a picture of a jellyfish. I fired a burst of flashes, and she turned toward the croc, faced him, and took his picture. Photographing a crocodile is exactly like photographing a dinosaur. The croc faced him and took his picture. Exactly like photographing a dinosaur.
Ready?
Okay, this is Noel Lopez. We met Noel 20 years ago, first time we went to the Gardens of the Queens. And he has been the chief diver, really the chief conservationist for the Gardens of the Queens from its inception when it became a national park in 1997. One man staying with all of this territory and protecting it for the rest of, protecting it and conserving it for the rest of the world. He's an extraordinary man. He is, his best friends are virtually every single fish that we've come across.
One of the reasons we want to share Noel is simple. Every picture, every video, every asset an underwater person makes is a result of a team effort.
Yeah.
It's the captain that drives the boat. It's the guy who fills the tank. It's your guide. And in Cuba, Our guide is Noel Lopez. And what the point we're trying to make here is quite simple. It is a collaborative effort. Behind every picture is a team. If you drop David and I, plunked parachute into Cuba's Gardens of the Queen, or into Raja Ampat, or into Palau, and said, go do your story coverage, go make your images, we would be lost. The story depends on a team. And what we like to do is turn around and give credit to the team. So thank you, Noel Lopez. All right, now we're headed to the far, far South Pacific, to Fakarava Atoll.
In the Tuamotu archipelago, it is an incredibly large atoll, and the South Pass has a population of nearly 700 sharks.
And it has the wonderful distinction of being a designated UNESCO Marine Biosphere Preserve. So let's go into the world of 700 sharks. It is one of the most exciting places we've dove, one of the most adrenaline-inducing places we have dove. And if you want the night dive of a lifetime, you gotta go to Fakarava. And we literally were inspired to go there by our French friend and colleague,
Laurent Ballastra.
Looking at his work, it was hard not to go. So let's go into the South Pass of Fakarava.
Keep playing on, please.
Thank you, Alphonse.
Okay, ready?
You know, the most dramatic time in Fakarava is this incredible changeover from daylight to dark, at dusk, at sunset. And this is when the reef literally comes alive. And this is a group of small blacktip sharks in the shallows. It's a very striated place of blacktip sharks in the shallows, and gray reef sharks in the middle depths, and then very far down in the bottom is the small reef white tips that are the hunters at night. It's an incredible place, Fakarava, and it's a place of infinite imagery.
You gotta go. Trust us.
Yeah.
The night dive of a lifetime. All right, we're gonna leave warm. Now we're leaving warm, and we're gonna head to cold. Not Antarctic cold, but sub-Antarctic cold. A corner, one of the wildest, most remote corners of the world, and a perfect place for Ocean Week. This is St. Andrews Bay, South Georgia. And I implore all of you, save up your nickels, your dimes, your currency in whatever country you're in, and get yourself and your camera equipment to South Georgia. It is an incredible place. It is a place of king penguins, one of the largest colonies in the world. There are larger, of over 400,000 pairs. It's not just about kings. It's about macaroni. It's about chin straps, and it's about the Gen 2 here with a chick. It's penguin central and an incredible place. And wherever you have huge colonies, you have predators. And in this case, and I'm going to let David do the talking here because this is one of David's, he's a fanatic for this guy. David, introduce
These guys are called jeeps, which stands for giant petrels. Think of these birds as a seagoing turkey. They're about that big, and they're incredibly aggressive and, of course, inquisitive. They prey on the penguins. They're terrible, big-bodied flyers, but nevertheless successful in terms of preying on penguins. When you're swimming with them, they'll come right up to you, look in your eyes, and start pecking you on the head. This is one of the great moments in South Georgia, being pecked on the head by a giant seagoing turkey.
Can you tell David's obsessed with the giant petrel? So during this day, today being Ocean Odyssey Day, let's plunge in with the penguins and take a look at their secret world.
But at least now on Facebook, it's fantastic. It's super smooth. It's great.
Oh, here.
Get ready.
Okay.
Okay. So, I love the word so. You know, when you land in St. Andrews Bay, they put you ashore before dawn. And then the dawn comes up and you're standing on, you walk up a little hillock and you stand overlooking the bay. And when the dawn comes up, it's like a spotlight. And here's what it looks like. This is a colony of over 150,000 pairs of king penguins, as far as you can see. And the first time I photographed this, another photographer came up to me. I was standing there awestruck, and she said to me, have you ever seen such a huge gathering of life on our planet? And I said, of course. And she said, where? And I said, Times Square, New Year's Eve. Singapore, New Year's Eve. Sydney Harbor, New Year's Eve. We are the dominant life force on our planet, and it's up to us. It is our responsibility to make sure that this scene, this pulse of life, never disappears.
Alrighty. And South Georgia is not just about penguins. It's about pinnipeds.
This is
I'd love to know this conversation that's happening. I can only guess. I do know that is a juvenile fur seal, and it is probably giving the guff to that adult penguin. But anyway, there are elephant seals, fur seals, leopard seals. What am I leaving out? Seals, David, in South Georgia. And guess what, people? This story has a good ending that started out with a very bad beginning. And sealing, and there were sealers that came to South Georgia with the whalers. The whalers took the last whale. The last whale. The whales are now beginning to reappear and relearn South Georgia, but they almost took the fur seal to the brink of extinction. As a matter of fact, on South Georgia, they did. It was remnant islands, but they have rebounded. And they are born in our late fall, in November and December. And mom's going to come and go, and she's going to come back to her fur seal pup. And when they get a little bigger, they become and mom heads out to sea. These guys have to learn how to be a fur seal pup, and they get inquisitive. They're curious. They are playful. It's like swimming with a bunch of golden retrievers underwater. Is there something you want to say about these guys, David? Or just let the video roll?
Let's take a look at this video.
Let's just show you what it's like to work with hundreds of these guys. Run out of time to tell you the story.
Yeah.
I'm running out of time.
Do it.
Don't do me fine.
Go.
Honestly, it is one of those joyous places in the world to be. In South Georgia, swimming with all of these fur seals, these fur seal pups. Let's take you to another place.
Actually, David, I'm going to tell you what Paul North calls us. He calls this one of the happiest places on the planet, swimming and snorkeling with these fur seals. There's a place called Puppy River. It's better than therapy.
Yeah.
I think. I think it's the best drug on the planet. So save your money. Go to South Georgia. You won't regret it. All right, now let's go home.
This is home.
You ready?
Yeah.
So, David.
This is not our house. This is a place called Bolt Castle, downriver from where we live on the St. Lawrence River in the Thousand Islands. This is where the St. Lawrence River begins.
So literally out our window, which you can't see, and then by boat in 5
It's
minutes
that way.
is Bolt Castle.
Yeah.
So we are on the St. Lawrence River in a place called the Thousand Islands. It's like this little kept secret on the border between New York and Canada. I love it because Canada is a great neighbor to have, especially now that I think of it. Incredible. But we did a story for National Geographic that actually published in 2014 that started on our dock. Why did it start on our dock? It started on our dock because we have some of the coolest neighbors anyone can have. We have sturgeon. Look at this is Miss Chippy. As a graduate student, I was studying for my PhD. My research were sturgeon, and I tagged over 3,500, maybe 4,000 sturgeon. I put transmitters on them. I did diet studies. I looked at the population. I met a lot. I met Miss Chippy in the 90s. I can tell who she is because she's got a tag, and she also has a divot on her back from a prop. A prop has hit her. And downriver from us, we have spawning beds. They are engineered spawning beds that were put in place. Why? Why are there engineered spawning beds? Because literally, like all 27 species of sturgeon that are swimming on this planet, yes, 27, all 27 species are in trouble, including our freshwater lake sturgeon species here. So if you own a hydro dam, you do mitigation. And you try to restore the populations. And one of them is to put in these spawning beds to help them recover their species. And with that, 5 days out of the year, 5 whole days, when these sturgeons start to feel sexy, they appear from the depths and they congregate on these spawning beds. And it's our time to check on them. And literally, they're there now. They're just wrapping up the spawning. So, David, I'm going to take this group to the sturgeon spawning beds with us. Let's go.
the middle of the Gulf of St. Lawrence, in the middle of the winter, the most beautiful animal in the world is born, and this is the harp seal. This is a perfect white coat pup harp seal, born on the open sea ice in the center of the Gulf of St. Lawrence near the Magdalen Islands. This is what it looks like from the air. The females haul themselves up on the sea ice. They give birth. And when you look at, here's a group of about 10,000 females all hauled up on the sea ice. It is the harshest place in the world to give birth to an offspring. And it is the place where the wind never stops blowing. It is incredibly beautiful.
So a group of harp seals, this is called a herd. This is the herd. The herd comes down from the Arctic and it comes into the Gulf of St. Lawrence seeking sea ice. And in the past decade plus, with climate change, there have been these conditions of sea ice that have occurred. Good sea ice where you can walk 150 miles in one direction. Catastrophic sea ice where they're small and broken. This is nearly catastrophic. It is not solid ice. And then conditions of literally no ice at all. Imagine being a pregnant harp seal. Imagine being a pregnant anything, swimming, walking, looking for your nursery. You have to give birth. You're carrying your young. What do you do if there is little to no ice? David and I started the story in 2014 with National Geographic. We go back every year to the harp seals because they become a face of climate change for us. And we are embedded in the story as it goes forward. And every year that the ice conditions allow us, we are there in the ice with the harp seal telling their story. And what I want to do now is take you into the world of the harp seal. And before I forget to do this, what I want to do too is invite you to come to the Gulf of St. Lawrence, to the Magdalen Islands, and experience this yourself, because it is not just for National Geographic photographers, BBC, and Discovery type photographers. You can go. Let me seduce you into the world of the harp seal. Let's roll.
Go.
So normally in a perfect world, we would narrate these videos so you would know exactly what you're looking at. But let me tell you, the harp seals are born on the sea ice in late February. The mothers will nurse them for 12 to 15 days, and then the mother will abandon the pup. She's going to go in the water. She's going to seek a male. She's going to mate, and then she's going to migrate out of the Gulf. And the harp seals have to require solid sea ice because they're going to remain on the sea ice. They're going to use all of that fat that they have stored up from nursing on their mom for those 12 to 15 days. They're going to need it because they literally are going to have to learn how to be a harp seal themselves. And as David said, the wind is relentless and they need to get out of the wind. So they will seek anything from a tennis ball size piece of snow to a microwave or to something like a pyramid like this, and literally seek to get out of the relentless wind that scours the sea ice in the Gulf of St. Lawrence. And not only that, so this is the white coat, meet the white coat, but believe it or not, and after mom leaves, it enters a period of molt where it will shed its white coat, its beautiful white coat, and it enters the next phase. This is called the beater phase, where they start to slim down because they're using their fat resources, and they start to learn to swim. They get in and out of the water, and they start to learn how to be a harp seal. And literally, we're going to end on this because this was our last day on National Geographic assignment with the harp seals. This is what it looks like. You don't have to be a diver to go to the harp seal. You don't have to snorkel. You can literally be a tourist. David and I have just started embedding with ecotourism with the harp seals, and you can be a grandma, a grandpa, an aunt, an uncle, a kid, a cancer patient, a divorcee, a happily married couple, or a teenager, and go and experience the harp seal as the face of climate change. And if you want to know, David, should they stalk us?
You can stalk us. You can find us anywhere. Facebook.
Literally, we will teach you how to go and connect with this incredible creature who requires a nursery of ice to survive. It is one of the most, it has become, if there is such a thing, it's become a spirit animal for me and a face of climate change for us, and a story we will continue to tell as time goes on as part of a collaboration with a lot of teams on Magdalene Island. I cannot thank them enough. So we are going to sign off during World Oceans Week and today Ocean Odyssey Day. And David, anything you want to say? Keep shooting.
Keep shooting. Hopefully we will see you next year. And when all of this is ended, we will get back into the sea.
Excellent. Thank you for tuning in. We hope to see you in the sea. Join us in the harp seals. Go to Fakarava. Go to South